everyone. So it's Tuesday, it's 4 o'clock, and I wanted to talk to you today. Well, a few weeks ago we started talking about body image, did 4 weeks of that, and now I want to talk to you about recovery. Now, I don't particularly like the word recovery because for me it brought up all sorts of connotations of had fears around what recovery looked like and what it would mean for me. And I guess the worst fears for me right then were that I'd be fat. That was a given. That recovery had to mean that I'd be fat and I'd be bigger and I wouldn't be happy with myself. That I would lose my identity. Anorexia had become such part of my life. I wasn't sure what my life would be without it. Hi Sarah, I love my Liffey colour. Oh, thank you very much. So I had this fear of what I would be without it. So a fear of losing that identity. And just sort of the fear very much of losing control, and because obviously with an eating disorder you can be very much kind of all or nothing thinking, so it's usually either restrict or binge. So I couldn't kind of get my head around the fact that there was a middle balance, and I guess I just thought that it would be something that would always be with me. I'd always have to manage it. It'd always be around kind of managing meal plans and making sure I was kind of having my 3 meals and my 3 snacks a day and having to keep rigidly to that, otherwise I'd kind of fall off the edge. I'd never could imagine myself being relaxed around kind of food and eating, etc. So I had all of these things about, well, maybe my life would be a bit better, but I can't really see I couldn't really see that it could be much better. I still thought basically that it would be a bit shit. And it just seemed like a lot of hard work, a lot of effort, a lot of fears to kind of to push through to still feel a bit shit. It just didn't sort of seem worth it. And I know that for me, I had to really get to rock bottom. It had to, there had to be something. I had to kind of get to a certain place where I guess the fear of not going for it became less than the fear of staying where I was, because like I've said to you in the past, I got to the point where I was considering suicide every day. I genuinely wasn't very happy, and so and I think so today I just wanted to kind of talk to you about how I kind of found my recovery journey in a kind of a bit of an anecdote visualized way. And I guess it feels looking back now, it feels like I'd kind of gone from one sort of island. I jumped in a boat, a rowing boat, say, and there were days when I was really motivated and I was sort of felt so strong, I felt so good, and right, I'm gonna row, and I'd sort of row for a while, maybe for a few days, and I'd be really kind of focused on but I didn't see what was around me. I didn't see what was in front of me, so I had no clue as to where I was going. I just saw sea, and I desperately wanted to go forward, but I didn't know where the heck I was going. And so I just had to trust that I was kind of going in some sort of right direction. And so, like I said, there were days when I'd kind of be focused and feel strong, so I'd row along. And then there would be days that I'd just be so tired, so exhausted, I wanted to turn back, because I was scared of, it just felt really unsafe being in this boat. And maybe some days the sea would get a bit more choppier, and and it would kind of throw a bit of water over me, and you know, and I'd feel really kind of like uncomfortable, really unsafe, and I wasn't quite sure whether to carry on, to go back, or what to do. But again, I just trusted that going back wasn't going to lead me any more to happiness. I was not going to be happy going back. And so I kind of like just stopped, took a breath, you know, and sometimes I sort of floated, kind of like just sort of, you know, almost like treading water for a while. And then I grabbed the oars again and I went for it again. And I just trusted that I was doing my best. I couldn't possibly do any more. And any sort of times when I did sort of turn around and start to go back, I kind of like said to myself, no, but I gave myself permission to have those days when I wanted to go back, you know, because it's bloody hard work, you know, rowing that boat is hard work, it is tiring, it's exhausting, you know, it is mentally exhausting. And so you have to kind of realise that it is about just doing your best, not beating yourself up about kind of like maybe turning back and kind of like, you know, taking a few, you know, rows towards going back or at all. Why wouldn't you want to? You know, that over there, although it's sort of shitty and it didn't make you happy, there's also an element of safety in it. And if you're out in the choppy seas, it's a natural reaction to want to go back. But again, it's about trusting to just keep going. And so this is what it was like for me. You know, it was a constant battle. You know, some days were easier than others. And, you know, just to go with it and just trust that you are making progress. You know, even if it doesn't particularly feel like it, you know, if you can't keep looking at how far you've come and the progress you've made, be proud of that and congratulate yourself for that. So eventually I got to the other island, Recovery Island. And again, I don't like to think of it as recovery, but it's just a term that everybody kind of knows. And it was totally different for me, different to anything that I'd expected, because I guess I realised that my eating disorder was never about food or my weight or anything like that. And it is possible to let all that stuff go. But it's about becoming confident and feeling in charge of your life, you know, and feeling okay about yourself, liking yourself exactly for who you are. And then, like I said before, you know, once you have that, once you feel confident in yourself, you don't need to focus on your weight and the food and things like that, because you feel all right. And it's like, because today it's like we, you know, are kind of like, you know, in this society where, you know, you have to be healthy and obviously, you know, we are taught what's healthy and what's not healthy and that, which actually is not right for everybody. You know, those again are rules that are enforced on us. But actually we are individual people and we can make our own choices. And, you know, and so now, you know, I am confident in myself. I'm not going to listen to anybody else's rules. And, you know, I'm kind of like, you know, I quite like an element of healthy eating, you know, kind of like, you know, I like to kind of like keep fit and things like that. But I'm not going to get obsessed about it, you know, and I'm quite happy to kind of like have the days where I just want to sit and watch Netflix and, you know, and kind of like have a treat and stuff like that. And that's okay too. You know, it's all about balance and moderation, and there is nothing wrong with that. And so I've kind of almost made up my own rules, and I'm not going to listen to society and what, you know, everybody seems so obsessed with like food and weight and all this sort of stuff. It surrounds us, but we can choose. We can choose whether we want to be like sheep and follow everybody else, whether we need to fit in. And I think this is the thing, is that when you're not confident in yourself, you have this thing, you feel that you need to fit in order to be okay. Whereas actually you're bloody okay as you are. You don't need other people to tell you that you're okay. Because if you feel okay, then that's enough. Because usually if you don't feel okay and somebody else tells you that you're okay, you don't believe them anyway. So anyway, I've kind of diverged a little bit. Got on my soapbox, so apologies for that. But yeah, recovery doesn't have to be about, still controlling your food or your weight or anything like that. And you can actually be happy as you are. So all the fears that you might have around recovery right now, it takes some time, and it takes kind of like getting rid of those root causes, etc. But once you've done that, recovery, however you want to think of recovery, but I kind of think of it as, I feel more confident and relaxed about myself, my body, and my eating. And and recovery, although it's not easy, it's really possible, and it's so worth it. And I know, Sarah, that you can very much testify to that. So even though we're only in our early days, you are so seeing the changes in yourself and stuff. So it's brilliant to see. So I'm going to leave you there, unless you have any comments or anything like you'd like to add. If you're watching on the replay, please feel free to comment, ask questions, etc. as always. And if you need any help with anything, just get in touch with me. All right, lots of love, and I will speak to you very soon. All right, take care. Bye.